Before we start, a quick clarification. When I say Tesla, I'm talking about two different things: Nikola Tesla, the 19th century inventor who championed alternating current, and Tesla, the modern car company named in his honor. And when I say Edison, I'm talking about Thomas Edison, the prolific inventor and businessman who pushed direct current. Their clash more than a century ago shaped the electricity that runs our world, and it quietly set the stage for today's electric car race. Picture New York City in the 1880s. Streets lit by gas lamps. Power, if you had it, came from local generators that couldn't reach far. Edison steps in with a bold vision: a city electrified by direct current, DC flowing in one direction from a nearby power station to homes and businesses. It's safe, it's controllable, and he already sells the bulbs and the fuses. It's a complete system. Then Nikola Tesla arrives with a different idea: alternating current AC electricity that changes direction many times a second. Why does that matter? Because AC can be easily stepped up to very high voltages with a transformer, sent miles and miles with less loss, then stepped back down to safe levels where people live. In simple terms, DC is great up close. AC is great across distance. A fight breaks out, the famous war of currents. Edison warns the public that AC is dangerous. He demonstrates grisly stunts to make his point. Westinghouse backs Tesla's AC patents. And together they push for a national grid that can cross mountains and prairies. Not just neighborhoods. It's not just science. It's business, politics, and showmanship. Here's the turning point: Chicago, 1893, the World's Columbian Exposition. Westinghouse wins the contract to light the fair using Tesla's AC system. At night, the fairgrounds blaze with electric light like a second sunrise. Then, 2 years later, the first long-distance, large-scale AC power from Niagara Falls lights up Buffalo. The symbolism is impossible to miss. Nature's force turned into electricity that travels. So who won? In distribution, AC did. Our grids run on AC because it's efficient to move over long distances. But DC never went away. It stuck around in streetcars, telegraphs, early batteries, and later in electronics. And today, there's a twist. Under oceans and across continents, ultra-high voltage DC lines quietly leap huge distances with very low loss. The truth is less a knockout than a compromise. AC and DC coexist, each doing what it does best. Let's bring this to electric cars, because here's the secret link. Nikola Tesla's most famous motor, the AC induction motor, became a workhorse of industry. It uses a rotating magnetic field to spin without brushes, and it's rugged and efficient. That same principle powers many modern EVs. Thomas Edison, on the other hand, spent years chasing a better battery. He developed a tough nickel-iron battery, worked with Henry Ford, and even floated the idea of an affordable electric car in the early 1900s. It didn't happen. His batteries were durable but heavy and didn't deliver the punch drivers wanted, but he was trying to solve the same problem we grapple with today: energy storage. And here's an underappreciated chapter. In the 1890s and early 1900s, electric cars actually had a moment. They were quiet, clean, and popular in cities. You could find electric taxis in New York. Wealthy drivers loved that you didn't have to crank them by hand. Then gasoline engines improved, roads got longer, oil got cheap, and the electric starter made gas cars for easier to live with. The electric car faded into the background. Fast forward through a century of innovation: electronics, semiconductors, power converters. In the 1990s, we get the GM EV1 experiment, early hybrids, and the first commercial lithium-ion batteries. Lithium-ion changes everything. Suddenly you can store far more energy in a smaller, lighter package. And then a group of entrepreneurs in the 2000s choose a name that tips its hat to Nikola Tesla, build an electric sports car around laptop cells, and prove you can make an EV that's fast, fun, and practical. Tesla, the company, doesn't belong to Nikola Tesla, but it channels his motor and his audacity. Here's where the Tesla versus Edison story folds neatly into the modern electric car race. Today, inside every electric car, AC and DC live side by side. Your battery stores DC. Your motor typically wants AC. The car's inverter, the unsung hero, takes DC from the battery and turns it into the precise three-phase AC the motor needs, thousands of times per second. When you charge at home, your wall delivers AC, the car's onboard charger turns it into DC to fill the battery. When you rapid charge on the highway, the charger itself often delivers DC straight into the pack, skipping the onboard converter for speed. The old AC versus DC war ended in a draw under your floor pan. Both currents won by teaming up. Now, the race. For over 100 years, internal combustion cars won on range, refueling speed, and price. EVs had the advantage in smoothness, torque, and simplicity. The modern race is about tipping those scales, making batteries cheaper, chargers faster, and software smarter without losing the joy of driving. Tesla, the company, pushed hard on all three. They took off-the-shelf lithium-ion chemistry and scaled it. They built a coast-to-coast fast-charging network to kill range anxiety. They used over-the-air updates so the car you buy keeps improving. They made performance cool and efficiency cool in the same package. Meanwhile, legacy automakers woke up with their own strengths: factory scale, quality control, dealer networks, and decades of engineering. They're bringing electric trucks, SUVs, and affordable models to market. New players are trying different pots. Some chase luxury and tech, others focus on cost and durability. Battery makers are racing on chemistry: nickel-rich cells for performance, iron-based cells for cost and longevity, and solid-state cells to one day deliver big range and fast charging with better safety. It's not just a car race, it's a battery, software, and infrastructure race all at once. Let's connect a few dots back to Tesla and Edison, the people. Tesla believed in systems that scale: polyphase AC grids that reach across nations. The modern analog is a charging network that actually works everywhere you go. Edison believed in end-to-end control: on the bulbs, the fuses, the power stations. The modern analog is vertical integration, designing your own batteries, motors, chips, and software so the pieces fit just right. If you squint, you can see both philosophies at play in today's EV leaders. There's also a battle of plugs and protocols. At home, you charge with AC slow and steady, gentle on the battery. On the highway, you use DC fast chargers that push energy in quickly. Different plugs and standards have jostled for dominance, and the industry is converging toward fewer connectors and shared networks so drivers don't need an adapter set the size of a toolbox. That convergence is the modern version of agreeing on what a light bulb socket should look like. It lowers friction. It speeds adoption. What about motors? Tesla, the inventor, gave us the induction motor. Tesla, the car company, initially leaned into that design: simple, strong, no magnets. As the race intensified, car makers mixed it up: permanent magnet motors for efficiency in everyday driving, induction or reluctance motors for robust power and high-speed performance. Software now decides when to use which motor and how, millisecond by millisecond, to squeeze out range and response. If the 1890s were about arguing which current should win, the 2020s are about orchestration, blending hardware and software so drivers forget the complexity and just enjoy the drive. And batteries. Edison's nickel-iron cells were famous for toughness. They could last for years, even decades, but they charged slowly and didn't deliver big bursts of power. Today's lithium-ion cells are the opposite: light, punchy, and fast to charge, but you have to manage them carefully with cooling and smart software. Researchers are working on chemistries that combine the best traits: safer electrolytes, abundant materials, longer life. Some are rethinking the shape of cells to make packs stiffer and easier to build. Others are optimizing recycling so the nickel, lithium, and copper from old packs become the feedstock for new ones. Edison would recognize the persistence. Tesla would love the physics. Let's talk about the feel behind the wheel. Electric motors deliver maximum torque from a standstill. That's why EVs leap forward so eagerly. Regenerative braking turns motion back into electricity when you lift off the accelerator. One-pedal driving becomes second nature. The cabin is quiet, which means build quality and wind noise suddenly matter in a way they never did when an engine masked everything. The center of gravity sits low, thanks to the battery pack, so handling is planted and predictable. These are not small upgrades. They change what a normal car feels like. But there are real hurdles, and glossing over them doesn't help anyone. Batteries are still expensive, which pushes up sticker prices. Fast charging is good but not yet as universal as gas stations, and charger reliability must improve. Cold weather can ding range. Demand for critical minerals raises questions about mining, labor, and geopolitics. The race isn't only about who can make the fastest car, it's about who can scale responsibly, make charging seamless, and keep the total cost of ownership attractive for millions of drivers. So where does Tesla versus Edison land us in this story? If we frame it as a grudge match, we miss the point. The real through line is that both men chase complete systems. Tesla's system: generators, transformers, motors, long-distance transmission. Edison's system, generation, distribution, devices, and business models that made electricity a product people could actually buy. Today's leaders win the same way by making the whole experience add up: car, battery, software, charging, service, and price. If you're a driver deciding whether to go electric, here's the practical lens. Most daily driving fits within an EV's comfortable range. Home charging turns your driveway into your personal gas station. Public fast charging covers road trips, and route planners will guide you to working stations. Maintenance is simpler: no oil changes, fewer moving parts. If you tow heavy loads, live in extreme cold, or lack reliable home charging, weigh those factors honestly. The best car is the one that fits your life, and the good news is the options are multiplying. If you're a tech nerd, here's the thrilling part. EVs are rolling power electronics labs. They juggle AC and DC with elegance that would have blown 19th century minds. They turn software into a performance part. They open doors to vehicle to home and even vehicle to grid power. In the future, your car is a backup battery for your house, or a stabilizer for the grid during peak demand. That idea would have made both Tesla and Edison grin: energy flowing where it's needed, when it's needed, seamlessly. If you're thinking big picture, here's the societal angle. Transportation and electricity are converging. When a city adds fast chargers at the same time it adds solar panels and grid storage, you get a virtuous cycle. Clean generation feeds clean transportation. Smart chargers wait for cheaper, cleaner times of day to top you up. Fleets electrify, cutting noise and pollution in neighborhoods that have borne the brunt for decades. The race becomes not just commercial but civic. Let me end with an image. In one garage, a restored Baker Electric from the early 1900s hums quietly to life on lead-acid batteries, a relic of the first electric era. In another, a modern EV boots its computers, wakes its thermal systems, and spins a motor guided by algorithms, a product of the second electric era. Between them runs a line that passes through the Chicago Fair, through Niagara's turbines, through a lab where Edison tinkers with stubborn batteries, through a workshop where Tesla sketches a rotating magnetic field. The line isn't perfectly straight, but it's unbroken. So, Tesla versus Edison, the electric car race isn't about choosing a hero and a villain. It's about recognizing how a century-old argument sculpted the tools we're using right now to reinvent the automobile. Edison fought for practical systems people would adopt. Tesla fought for elegant physics at scale. Today, the winners are the companies and the drivers who take the best of both: the vision to build at grid scale, the discipline to make the details reliable, and the willingness to make the entire experience so good that switching feels like an upgrade, not a sacrifice. In your driveway, the battle of currents has already been settled by a quiet truce. AC powers your home. DC fills your battery. An inverter conducts a dance between them. You press the pedal, the motor answers, and a story that began with the stubborn inventors turns into motion. That's the race we're living through, not a duel to the death, but a sprint toward better. And this time, if we do it right, everybody gets to cross the finish line.